Hey everyone, Digital David here. Today in this video, I'm going to be checking out the Tineco Floor 1 S7 combo. Tineco did send me this product, but any opinion expressed in this video is strictly my own. That being said, if you're interested in this product or you want to find out more about it, the link to it will be in the video description. Here's a look at the retail box and packaging. You'll see that they walk you through some of its key features right here in tech specs. Then moving right along, we have additional features right here you can see. They even show you what's included in the box. And then we can learn more about its design, some of the key features again. And then we have a nice breakdown of the product right here, showing us both the wet dry vac and our featherweight vacuum. Now let's go ahead, let's open it up and see what's inside. Here are all the contents. We have quite a few things to go over. First up, you'll notice some product literature right here with their customer service and contact information. They walk you through everything you need to know, from warranty information to troubleshooting to different accessories to maintenance tips and tricks, how to operate and use your vacuum and wet dry vac. So nice breakdown there, charts, diagrams, everything you need. Next, you'll see we have our station for the cordless vacuum cleaner. If you get a regular Tineco vac, typically these charge as well. This one appears just to be for storing your cordless vacuum cleaner right here. You'll see we have optional accessories, crevice tool with brush, and we have a mini power brush. They store right there. Here's our main brush roller featuring Tineco's ZeroTangle technology. Spoiler alert, you might still get a couple of tangles on here. But take a look at that brush, built-in LEDs. See how it's going to be able to move around left and right, up and down. Two nice wheels there. And then moving right along, we have the handle for the wet dry vac with Tineco's logo and branding. We have some control buttons right up here at the top. Nice grip. And then you'll see we have some extra controls for cleaning. Then you'll see on the underside, we have some additional controls to adjust or mute the unit. Then we have the main tube for the vacuum cleaner right here in two pieces. And looking on the back side, you'll see how they go together just like that. And then it can just snap right in place. So there's the main vacuum body. Next, we have some deodorizing and cleaning solution. We have our power supply. Take a look at that up close. Maybe you can see the technical spec on it. Then we have our charging base for the wet dry vac with extra accessories. So an extra washable filter, wand tool for cleaning, extra roller brush. Then we have the vacuum head right here with our dustbin with the max level Tineco iLoop branding on it. We can easily open that to empty and clean as needed. Trigger there. Auto max setting. So look at the other side. Tineco iLoop again. See it from the front. Up at the top, you'll notice this canister is removable. So then we can add the canister with our battery and motor basically for the vacuum right there. So that's how we're going to be able to use this. And then last but not least, you'll see our wet dry vac right here. Let's look at this in more detail. Here's a look at the wet dry vac. You'll see on the main body in the front, Tineco logo and branding up top. This is going to be removable. Then we also have our removable dirty water tank right here with our removable and washable filter. So that pops right out to clean. We can also go ahead and just gently pull this open to wash out and clean as needed. And then it'll just snap right back in place. You'll see what it looks like with it removed. And then moving further down on the unit, we got Tineco's logo and branding again. You'll see too, I can open this up to reveal the brush roller to easily clean and replace. There's a look at it from the side. It just pulls right out. Take a look at the underside of this as well. That just snaps right back in. Very easy. Here's a side profile. Really cool wheels with that design there on the tires. We'll flip it over to the very bottom. You'll look at the underside of the unit there. Now we can look at the back side. We have our clean water tank. I like this design too, so you can fill it up basically under any sink. You don't need to have, a really tall or deep sink. So you can just fill everything up. Instructions on here too. Basically add one cap in, filled up the rest of the way with warm tap water. There's a look at the back side with everything removed. And now we'll look at the very top here. So you'll see with this device, on this side, we have a lever. That's going to be our main display once it's powered on, but we can also easily release that to remove and take this to the vacuum cleaner to use it there as well. So you'll be swapping this between both devices, but basically it just snaps right in place. You can press that to release it. Also want to point out, didn't mention this earlier, but we have little branding here in the bottom. Smooth power is enabled with this unit as well, giving you a nice boost while you're cleaning to help this effortlessly move around. Now let's get everything set up. So for the wet dry vac, gonna be simple and straightforward. We're just gonna attach this handle at the top of the unit. It's only gonna fit one way, so make sure you have it lined up properly. You'll see on this image right here, that's gonna be how it's gonna look if you're confused, but you want this portion of the handle pointing out over the brush, if that makes sense. So out over the brush, it'll look just like this. You do not want it that way. So line it up and you can gently just press it firmly in place and it'll snap right in. You heard that click. Now it is snapped in and we have the wet dry vac all set and ready to go. For the vacuum itself, you already saw we attached these two pieces together. Then we just have to choose our accessory. So we'll use the main brush roller and then we have to add the vacuum head. Now we have the cordless vacuum all set and ready to go. And then we just pick and choose which device we're gonna use, and we're gonna add this guy in place. So just press the button to release, pull out. And then for this, try to show you it there. Line it up, and then this will just snap right in place as well. And now we can start using the vacuum. Before we start cleaning, I wanted to show you how bright the LED lights are while we're here in the studio. So we're gonna power the vacuum on. And you can see how it's able to cast that light. Nice and bright. Now it's time to clean. right, let's see how it does after the clean. Take a look at that. We'll rotate it around. Very clean. Looking good, not seeing any stains, tangles, hair, anything like that on there. Looking at the back side of the cover, that also looks really, really clean. Sometimes underneath you might find something, hair, things like that, but not bad at all. If you want to occasionally wipe this down on the inside and the inside of the cover, you can do that. But look at how clean that is. So how does our S7 combo stack up against the competition? We'll be comparing this not only to our cordless vacuum cleaner benchmarks, but also our wet-dry vacuum cleaner benchmarks. We'll be comparing it within the overall average of all cordless vacs and wet-dry vacs that we've tested, as well as within Tineco's own brand average. So first up, cordless vacuum cleaner costs. You'll see this is pretty substantial when we're just comparing this through that lens. We're about 3 times the average compared to a typical cordless vacuum cleaner. We're about 2 times the average from within Tineco's own lineup. But the big asterisk there is that this is also a wet-dry vac, which is why you're seeing that increase in cost. Now, looking at wet-dry vac costs, you'll see we're still above both Tineco's average and the overall average, but we're closing that gap here. But don't forget, within those averages, those are just wet-dry vacs. You don't get the cordless vacuum cleaner functionality. So again, the value starts to make itself known. I'd still say this is expensive and you're paying a premium for that, but it's not as far off as you'd be led to believe seeing both of those stats. When you blend it together, it's a lot closer. But again, there's still a premium to be paid to have that feature to basically pop out the battery and motor and put it within one or the other unit. Now, in regards to battery life for the vacuum portion, this is measured in minutes. 65 minutes is what they claim. Realistically, you'll see less than that. The brand average is about 43. These data points would just be in a perfect environment without basically dirty floors. Let the vacuum idle, it might make it. But realistically, you'll have plenty of juice to be able to vacuum your main floor, maybe a couple floors of your house, and then put it back on the charger. So I'd say it gives you basically your average experience, whether it's a Tineco vac or not. They're all well within range in a real world environment. Now for the wet dry vac battery life, also measured in minutes, this is going to be the average that you get with any other Tineco, like the S3, the S5, you get the idea. About 40 minutes, and the overall average tested is 36. Again, well within range, not anything extra special to write home about or sing its praises. It's going to be fairly average. Now, vac bin capacity measured in liters. This is not disclosed to us, so I'm not sure what it is. I'm not led to believe it's going to be any more or less than Tineco's average. So it'd be well within that probably 0.4 or 0.5 liter range. Clean water tank measured in milliliters. This unit has an 850 milliliter clean water tank. That's well above Tineco's average and still about 50-ish milliliters above the overall average for wet dry vacs, which is great to see. Tineco usually has larger capacity, clean and dirty water tanks when you're dealing with their upper series models like maybe the S5 or the S7. Dirty water tank, same story here, 720 milliliter capacity. The brand average is 672. The overall average is 642. So again, upper echelon Tineco product, going to have some of the biggest clean and dirty water tanks on the market. And the good news to you, the consumer, is that just means you're making less trips to empty, wash, and clean out the dirty water tank, but you're also making less trips to refill your clean water tank. Max suction power, this is measured in air watts. This information's not disclosed. Not sure what it's going to be. Doesn't seem any more or less powerful than your typical Tineco vac, so probably near that average of about 119. Overall average test is 138, so we actually have a little bit less in performance here compared to your typical cordless vacuum cleaner. Rated power measured in watts, same thing. This is not disclosed. I'd expect it very near Tineco's average, which is close to the overall average. But again, what you're seeing here, I think, is a trend that this isn't the best wet dry vac or the best cordless vac because it's trying to be both things instead of just really excel at one thing. Max CFM, we test this ourselves. This unit has a 36 CFM score. The brand average is 32. The overall average is 33. Typically with this score, the higher the result, the deeper the clean you're going to get. Which leads us to our deep clean score. Best possible score you can get is 100. This unit scored 93. This is done in the vacuum settings, if you're wondering. So we embed coffee grounds into carpet and we vacuum it up and measure the results. So 93 out of 100, the brand average is 95. So we're just slightly below average. The overall average is 94. So we're well within range to your typical cordless vacuum, just a little bit below the Tineco cordless vacuum cleaner average. Now let's talk about decibels. How loud does this unit get? We maxed out at 93 decibels. That's a lot louder than Tineco's average, which you'll see is 86, and the overall average is also 86. Now, using this side by side with another Tineco vac or just your average cordless vacuum cleaner, you may or may not be able to notice a difference. Again, this is max suction settings, vacuuming carpet. So realistically, in the real world, it might be just a little bit louder, but it's not going to be a deal breaker for being so loud you'd have to return it or anything along those lines. If you can deal with a typical cordless vacuum cleaner and how loud it is, you'll be able to stand this one just fine. Now let's talk about the weight. This is the vacuum weight in pounds, 6.7 pounds, a little bit above the brand average, but I'm telling you that motor and battery unit is pretty hefty. So I'm thinking that's why we have the weight where it's at. The brand average 5.8, overall average 5.2. Again, you're not going to be too fatigued using this vacuum versus another vacuum. So the good news is there, it's really kind of a moot point. Now, wet dry vac weight also measured in pounds, 11.7 pounds for this unit. The brand average is 10.3. Overall average is also 10.3. So with that being said, you'll see with this unit, it's probably heavier again because that motor battery combo versus your typical either just a vacuum or either just a wet dry vac. Now this unit does offer you that boost to basically propel itself forward or backwards for you. So if fatigue really is an issue for you with wet dry vacs, you'll appreciate having that functionality built in, which again kind of makes this metric obsolete. After using the S7 combo, let me share with you my final thoughts. So for me personally, I'm not a big fan of combo units. Yes, you might be able technically to save a couple bucks on paper, but I would argue you're getting a worse deal in value because you're not getting the best wet dry vac and you're not getting the best cordless vacuum cleaner. They're all just full of compromises because you're swapping out the internals to use between each one. At that point, to me, it just makes more sense to buy my wet dry vac and cordless vacuum cleaner separate, especially when we're talking about the price tag of an item like this. You could do a really, really good job buying either a fantastic cordless vacuum cleaner and a decent wet dry vac, or a fantastic wet dry vac and a decent cordless vacuum cleaner for the same amount or maybe even less, depending on what your preferences and needs are. So for me personally, I stay away from the combo units just because I feel like I know enough that I'm able to pick and choose as I want. And in that case, I'm buying two units that each have their own batteries and their own chargers and all of that good stuff, and there's no swapping or anything else. But with that out of the way, if you want to use a combo unit like this and you see the value in it, then you'll enjoy this setup. It's very, very powerful, does a great job vacuuming, cleaning, wet dry vacuuming, all of that good stuff. For me personally, it's more of the same in regards to what I want to see improved in the future. Better battery life, continuing to improve performance where they can. I'd like to see steam functionality built in to our wet dry vac as well as heated dry. For the premium that we're paying, it's nice we have a fantastic display on the S7 and that it can basically propel itself forward or backwards. But for me personally, that's not a feature I care too much about, as opposed to, like I said, heated dry, better battery life, an extra battery, things along those lines. I'd much rather have personally than the features that were given. But big, bright, beautiful display, easy to pick and choose your modes. I didn't cover it, but they do have a mobile app as well. I tend to not cover it because it's more of a gimmick to me. Not really sure why you'd want to use your phone to change settings when you can change it right on the unit. It's not like it's a robo wet dry vac that you can operate, when you're not home. But again, they do have that feature set built in, so I will give them credit that they are developing these products and they're offering things that really aren't available on the market from their competitors.